Yeah, so we're just about there. We've done some serving, done some setting, but we've got that other skill that always causes us lots of problems, and that's this one, because it's really, really difficult. So I'm going to walk through that, and then we're going to give some more. We're not going too fast. We can. And what Hugh will do when he comes is put this in some real games, more game stuff. So my job in our discussions today was I'm going to do serving, passing and setting. And what you'll see there on the A4 handout is that Hugh has some different terms for it. But if you look at them and you read them, there's not a lot of difference. And so our Volleyball New Zealand handbook may take some changes to what Hugh's come out with this time round. So I just want to make sure that I get this all off pat and don't miss a bit. Come on down the scene, girls, because you can. It is quite important, the instructions that I give now to athletes, so they have a really clear understanding of what we require them to do and the principles behind that, so that later on when I say shuffle to move, they've got an understanding of what that means. So Lauren, can you be the ball thrower for me, please, just from there. So I've thought about this. What do we say when we're in our posture? And you've got to get your toes forward, and we've got to have our knees over our toes, and I remember shoulders over knees and knees over toes, and all this detail I used to coach. And really what I say now is just get relaxed and ready to move, because we're all a little bit different in our anatomy. So I think if I'm just bent and ready to move, then I'm going to be in a pretty good spot. Ooh, we take it easy, but at least it wasn't to me, that's good. Right, so one more. Well, that's a better pass. So, the first thing is we want to be bent and ready to move. Yeah. The next thing is we want to shuffle to move. So if you throw the ball high enough and just over here, I want to shuffle to move. Does this make sense? Because if I start doing this, get on all sorts of problems. So we're just going to shuffle. Even if I have to come forward, I'm going to shuffle. So shuffling to move is a really important concept. What happens with your head also if you shuffle is it doesn't bob up and down. And if we bob up and down, our vision gets really distorted and we don't get a good look at the ball. So see the server. What's the server likely to do before they serve?
Look at where they're going to serve.
Look at where they're going to serve. So it's not beach, they can't wear their sunglasses, so they'll be able to see their eyes, see where they're going to serve. It's going to give you a good hint. Bent, ready to move. See the server, see the ball. That's a nice short little phrase, isn't it? We're going to remember that, See the server, see the ball. Shuffle to move, hands and wrists together, forearm contact, and then platform to target. These little wee phrases, so hopefully I can do this. Shuffle to move, forearm contact, platform to target. Now this platform to target is the most important thing. Now Hugh had a really good explanation the other day when when you used to play paddle, and lock the person's hands. It's really good, easy to do that because your hands are really quick and they're small and they can move fast. But our legs aren't so quick to move. So for sure we've got to move our feet, but then the last movements have to happen with our hands, and our hands are really good at making all these little adjustments. So throw me just nice and easy. Look at that magic. The ball knows angles. 100% of the time it's correct. So if I want to go back to Lauren, I do that. And if I want to go to Patrina, then all I have to do is that. And the ball gets it right 100% of the time. Now, if it doesn't go to Petrina, then it's probably my arms that are wrong. And this is a really important concept. The ball knows angles, and it will just, whatever you put an angle on, so if it goes too far over the net, what's going on? It's the angle of your arms. So we've rushed through that little thing quite quickly, but I think we've pointed out the keys again. And now, what's our first principle when we're teaching? Number one, learn by doing. Yeah. So we better do some stuff. So yeah, 4 again. Those that were on the court can come off, and those that were off can come on. And we're going to do exactly the same drill, except when you set it over, the first person has to pass it. Does that make sense? Do you want to show me this drill, how it works? 2 on 2. Yep. Yep. Can you stay there? Can you throw me the ball? Set me. Here it comes. Here we go. Can we do this? Here we go. Rightio, we're on to it. Wow, that's a hard ball. That's another. Oh. Got the here. Don't do. You want your athletes to have success, and just take the air out of the ball. It's a really good strategy. It's really, and you want them to fail. You know, your bad mood. It's all about you. You want them to, yeah. Well, just pump it up really hard, and they'll be useless at volleyball. Relaxed and ready to move. See the service, see the ball. Nice pass. There we go. Right, let's switch the teams in and out. So does this look more like volleyball? Passing, setting, we're getting more of the skills involved. We could probably do this drill really early on. Now look how messy it becomes. You know, it's not quite. Oh, she's a bit close to the net, and well, they're letting me down because their skills are so good. Here we go, and she's. And I can do a lot of coaching here with Lauren about if I'm really focused on her bent and ready to move, then I can be here coaching her about that, and everyone else in the gym is getting some repetitions. So what's your thoughts now after, 2 minutes of this? Are they getting any better? Kind of. But it's just not enough stress for them to get better, so we should throw some stressful stuff in there. So now when we do it, what we've got to do is we've got to go with a drive. So we start with the serve, and we go pass, set, drive. We'll switch in other people again. So the outside, everyone's getting a bit of a go. Start with a drive. Just drive it over. And what's happening now? It's starting to get a bit messy, isn't it? Oh, the ball stops. What's our temptation to do now as a coach? Stop it. Yeah. Does volleyball get any easier than this? I don't think it does. Does this look like volleyball? It's starting to. Nice platform to target. And we're starting, it might seem like little things, but that ball that went over the net, and Petrina it was, didn't see it coming over, and so she didn't jump up there and do something with it. I wonder why. Well, she hasn't seen enough of this. So we've got to give them a lot more repetitions. The premium skill in volleyball is reading the game. And the only way to read the game is to play the game. We can't get better at reading the game if we're passing against a wall. Will not help us read the game, and the premium skill is reading the game. Could you do this as a warm-up? It's the first thing you could walk in the gym and do, really simply. Here's a magic there. Did you know what happened with this, with Petrina here, what she did? Did you notice what she did? She jumped. I didn't tell her to jump, did I? What's she doing breaking the rules? But that's what athletes will do when they start to feel comfortable with things. They'll start to, okay, they'll naturally start to do this stuff without you putting all these constraints on them. And if someone down the other end doesn't quite feel like jumping just yet, that's all right. We're going to encourage her when she's ready for it. Let's change up. Thank you for reminding me. I want to... let's start with a serve, and then after it's gone 3 times over, then we can play for keeps. We can hit the ball hard. Okay? And if you lose, you go out. Okay? Just a 2. Just a 2. So serve and then play. Yeah, you can do whatever. It's playing for keeps down this, the badminton lines, the white lines, deep court. Now we're game on over here, aren't we? Play it up. Yeah. Now does this look more like a game? This looks more like a game, doesn't it? Yeah. What sort of things are we reinforcing here? What sort of things are we... what's the implicit messages and the reinforcements that they're getting? Say that, Van?
Lots of repetition.
So they're getting lots of repetition that looks like volleyball. Yeah. How do they know when they're not doing so well? They're on the sideline. That's sometimes a good thing that because after all, we keep score. So we want to know, we want to get in there and compete and feel a bit of pressure because that's part of the game. Nice swing. Now we can get better because now they come and sit on the side, and if they've really got the competitive spirit, they'll want to get back out there. Now tell me, is this a serving drill, a passing drill, or a setting drill? It's whatever one you want it to be. So if we come into the gym and we want to work on passing today, we could do this drill.
Sorry.
If we came in the next day and we wanted to do setting, we could do this drill too. So actually, the best drills are always serve, pass, set and hit drills, because that's what volleyball looks like and that's what we've got to train. What I do as a coach can differ. So right now I might be talking about passing and then just the chance for me is to look only at passing. Because I could get distracted with the setting and other stuff, but if we want to get better at passing, I've got to be looking at passing and giving my reinforcement with passing. How's our time, Stefan? How's our time?
6:05.
Questions? Anyone got suggestions of where we could move to now, from now? What's that? The backcourt? Yeah. Let's look at this. This is a good point. Yeah. Come on, girls. Just want to have a bit of a talk, and then we're going to get out and we're going to play a 3-metre game. So, got a question here, 2 questions I'm going to address. One is about defence and how do we teach defence. And the second one, Keith, is about how do we
make the players comfortable with making mistakes in front of their peers.
Yeah, so, and I think Hughes may even talk about this, and he's talked about it the last couple of days, is this idea that there's this worst thing you can do is fail. You know, we've got epic fail this and epic fail that, to quote Hugh from his words. And so how do we put ourselves out there and protect our athletes so that that it's okay to fail? And I've got a really good suggestion. What we could do is we could just get them to play games where they didn't have any failure at all. They were always successful. So you're not allowed to jump in our gym. You can only stand and drive it, because then the opposition is going to be able to pass it, and then she's not going to get, and he's not going to get, you know, any failure. So that's one solution, isn't it? How much better are we going to get? What's the best thing that can happen in your gym? Failure. Fail. That's the only way you can learn, is if you fail. So what does that mean, girls? Yeah. So what messages do you have to send to your teammates when they fail?
Get up, well, not,
Yeah. Go again?
it's not over.
Yeah. Keep going. And how could you make sure that that didn't happen? You could give them a teapot, couldn't you? You could just say it to them that they sucked. You could just tell them they're bad, but that's not the way it usually happens, is it? It's usually some other more subtle thing. And sometimes it can be nice try, but it's a fake smile. And that doesn't work either, because we're really good at picking up body language. That's what humans do. So and often we see that in teams. You know, nice work. But she's not saying that at all. She's saying, you're not trying hard enough. She's got the wrong messages all mixed up. So I'm going to get her back, that's for sure. Next time she does it. So this is a word I call, you know, which is culture. Somehow we've got to guide this to a point where the culture is right for us to fail in the gym. So what should we reinforce? If the ball goes out, go again. What do you have complete control over? Throw it out there. It's okay to be wrong.
Attitudes.
Attitude. Rightio. 100% control over your attitude. So we're going to look at some defense now, because I think we've talked about that. So your opportunity, girls, is to make a culture in this gym where everyone's trying to have a go, and doesn't matter whether you, in fact, it's a good thing to fail because you tried hard to do it. So we've got to have 3 at the back here, and 3 on the court, and 3 on the side, and 3 out, and 2 setters. So, and we're going to play a 3-meter game, yeah? Can I have the balls on this side? Yeah. Oh. Got any more balls? Can we? Yeah, that's great. 3 on 3 and well done. Can we shag those balls there? And if you're on the side, you can help us out. What we're going to do is we're going to start the drill by Mike throwing it. And once you've hit the ball over, then you 3 come in. Your setters stay constant. Once you've hit the ball over, 3 come in. And we're going to score it, because why wouldn't we score it? Can anyone think of a reason why not to score? No. So let's score. But the only difference is, because we want to make sure this gets a rally going, otherwise we're not going to have any repetitions, and we know that having repetitions is the most important thing for making us better at skill. So I wonder what we could do to structure this to make sure they're reinforced by getting the ball over the net and not just banging it out. Errors equal... Yeah, well, let's give the opposition 2 points, so it makes it easier for Mike's counting, because otherwise he forgets all the time. So, you guys hit it out, you get 2 points. Yeah? You're sitting 3 meters. You're jumping and hitting. But you hit it out, what happens? You're off, but also they get... Yeah, and they won't show you good the body. Here we go. You're out. You're out. What's the score? Well, it wasn't an error. She didn't hit it out, so it's 1-0. Yep. Play it up. Keep it. No, you switch each time. Switch each time. Oh, what happens? 2 points, so that's 3.
Yeah.
Could you pass me the balls?
Yeah.
Everybody running out. 4.
Yeah.
4-2. Nice work. 4-3, yeah? Five, 3, that's the big game, so it's 1-0. So we're playing to 5, I didn't tell them that, but you know, I should have told them that. But we're going to go into a new drill, keep things moving. So now the score is 1-0. So we played to 5. These guys won, so they're 1-0. What's the effect here when I've done that scoring? Okay, so everyone gets to start again. That's what happens in sets. So it's the start of the set. So when we want to start the set on Saturday, we've had this experience before, where it's now 0-0, come together, bit of spirit. Right, what do we got to do? How do we expect that happen on Saturday if we don't give that experience during the week? And we can do hitting and jumping and blocking and yeah, that's experience. But actually at the end of a set, what happens? All sorts of things can happen. Some people can walk out and go and have a drink, and some people do this, and someone's saying hi to their mum, and I'm going to have a text. And how do we create the habit that when we finish a set, this is what we talk about it, make a decision, this is what's focus, and onwards. So we're going to play another game to 5, and we stay in this time for points, and we want you to block. Okay, so you want to get their block, because that happens in a game too, doesn't it? And we'll change over this side, so I'm throwing from this side. Have you guys been playing?
No.
You've been, oh well, you better switch. Can you switch and switch there? Can I have two come out, yeah, and help me with the balls? Who won the first game? Why would I say that? Just to remind us that someone's winning, someone's losing, and you know, get it together. Now, pressure's on you to react and support each other. We're down, so it's 1-0. Ready to play.
You just want ball. Say it, Rex.
Ball's good. That's one. Yeah, that's great. And you just 100 it. One of you 100 it. 3-0.
Lenny, you go the ball.
3-1. So 4-1. What is it? 3-2. 3-2. 2-3. Thank you. Oh, good hustle. 3-all. 5-3. 5-3, isn't it? Well, it's 3-all now, it's 5-3, so the game score is 1-all. Yeah, so somehow, you know, we want to have Lauren make sure she experiences that actually hitting errors cost, you know, it's really important. And how do we reinforce that? By making it count on the score. But then there's another thing, the dynamic that happens now is how is everyone reacting to Lauren? Because this is going to happen on the weekend, isn't it? In the game. And the only way we can do that is by experience. Now, the question was, which I haven't forgotten, is how do we learn to play defence? Did this teach anything about defence? I'm going to say that it taught us to be able to defend the ball when there's one setter blocking and 3 in the back line, which is kind of like a volleyball game, but it's not really, isn't it? Because what happens usually when people are hitting the 3 metre, there's usually 2 or 3 blocks, or there's no blocks if the person's not such a good hitter. And this is the subtleties of when Hugh takes his session, you'll see that a lot of it's 6 on 6. Because that's what the game looks like. So should we do this stuff here? Yeah, I think we should. Should we do a lot of it? I'm not sure. I think we can do more of 6 on 6 stuff that looks more like volleyball than this stuff. But I'm playing defense. I've got a block there. Well, it's not bad. It's better than this kind of a ball. You ready, girls? Let's play. Set it up to me. The premium skill in volleyball is reading. Reading what's going to happen. Does this teach you about reading? Not unless there's some crazy person on the other side is going to throw the ball. And the reason why I was throwing the ball over the net was because I was conscious I wanted to get the other part of the game, but I ideally would have it serving. So tell me about this serve here. Which direction is it going? Everyone knows it's going in that direction, isn't it? What about the serve? Yeah. Thank you. How do we know which directions it's going? Right, yeah. What should you be watching in defence?
Their hand.
Their hand, their arm. And if it comes through really quick, what's going to happen? And how do we learn that? How do we learn? How does she learn where the ball's going to go? Experiences. And not from 5'8" for me standing on the side here. She'll learn if someone's jumping up here and seeing what the real situation looks like. Have any of you ever said from the sideline, cover the tip, didn't you see it? Oh yeah. Or this easy ball that comes over and they just stand there. I wish they'd move their feet. So Monday comes and we do this drill here. We're going to move our feet. Well, that's, unfortunately, I'm just going to be straight, that's not the problem. The problem is they didn't read the ball. And how would you expect to read the ball unless you had experiences of seeing that? Because the only way to learn that is for her to see me doing that. And better if she sees the other athletes, and better if there's two blocks there. Let's play again, and we're going to get, you three are going to stay as a constant, and you three are staying as a constant. Could two of you become blockers, and you only come up the net and block, and come up the net and block? So we're going to have 3 blockers and 3 defenders, and you're just helping Lauren and Tessa helping out with shagging the balls. Rightio. We ready to play? Playing to 5 again. Good. 3 metres, so it's these guys have got to hit. So it was an error 2, so it's 2-0. So I'll explain the rules. 3 metre, these guys are hitting, you guys are just blocking, but it's 2-0. What's the time, please, Steve? 2-all. Yeah? What was that? 6:30. 6 minutes to go. What was that? Out. We've got 4 already. You don't have to do much and you'll, yeah. Oh. 4-1. Great tip. 4-2. Hit that. 4-3.
Yeah, cover her.
Out. 6. 6. Big point score is 6. We had an interesting discussion up at the beach coaching course up in Auckland with the Australian coach Steve Tutton, and what he was saying, they might do these scoring and play little games and it might take 2 days to build to the winner, the way they have their scoring systems. So there's this whole pressure on for a couple of days when they go out to do their drills that this counts for this much, and you know all the scoring systems are up there, but So we've got this whole buy-in like a tournament situation. That's the reason they do it. So it's still alive. The whole thing's organic and keeps moving. Questions? I'll ask one then. Could this be a passing drill? Could I come to training and say, this is I want to work on passing this week? Yeah, I could. I'd have to put the serve in, and then I'd be saying things like, shuffle to move. What's your name? Sa. I'm standing beside Sa, and Sa's a good passer, but she wants to get better. So I might be saying things like, see the service, see the ball, because that was where she was failing on the weekend. And even better if Sa come up to me during the week and say, Mike, and this is where you know, I think this is my opinion, when you know that the athletes are buying into this, is when they come up to you and say, I'm having trouble with this, can you help me out? And that's the magic moment of coaching, because the door is opened. So be really careful in listening to them about the athletes, about what they want to improve on. Because you might think it's the most important thing to improve on this. Well, yeah, but if there is a different, then there's a gap there. And you've got to do something with that gap of what they think's important and what you think's important.
So is it fair to say that the role of the coach in relationship to the players is changing? That there needs to be this open to learning kind of conversation going on?
Yeah, we've had some good discussions because I think there's a real strong theme within coaching in New Zealand, is we want to empower the athletes to find out what Sarah wants to, and now I'm going to come to training, and I think this is important. But I also believe that as the coach, we have a job to know how our team can get better and then sell that. Yeah. And we come across this great term, I've been wanting to use this all, facilitation. So this is where, thank you Gina. Gina gave us to this word a few weeks ago, and I've used it constantly. I facilitate, but I also manipulate. Facilitation. So I might be saying things like, because I know in my head that we're going to be a better passing team, and I want to facilitate that to happen, but I know that going and telling Sarah that, okay, you can't, your passing was bad, and already there's this, we're going to work on passing today, and she says, I wanted to work on hitting the gap. Why don't I go, hey, girls, come and have a look at our stats. What do you reckon about this? So I'm giving them information which is manipulated, trying to get them, and then I'm going to facilitate and manipulate and facilitate, and so I think it's a little bit more complicated than just only listening. It's, you're the coach, you're the leader around here, you've got to take some initiative and lead. TikTok, any more questions? I think I'm keen for, oh yes, I saw you.
The girls doing a really good job at communicating. Do you coach that in any way, or do you find it comes with experience?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Communication. When do you think communication shuts down? Oh, that's good. We've got lots of answers. Who is? Losing. When we're losing? Stress. That's a good time. Any other time that communication could shut down in a training? If I gave them something really complicated, like we're going to play a 6-2 and we're going to go in transition, we're always going to play the pipe, and if the pipe gets the ball, then we're going to play out to 5. What's going on now? Too much. It's just too much. So this is stress again, but a different type of stress. And then communication shuts down. So that's the first thing. If they're not communicating, I'd say, well, how much information is going on here? And the second thing, I'd say, so what words should they use?
The team can understand.
Yeah, so here's a word you could use, my ball. Here's a word you could use, let's chase. Here's some words we could use, and they can come up with those words. But if we can really be really clear about what the words are exactly, they're the words that we can say. So time out, we need to communicate. What words can we say? Remember our phrases, you can come back to them. So I think that would be my advice for communication. I'm going to be around learning some more stuff from Hugh. So thank you very much for being great role models and helping us. Yeah, thank you. And hopefully there's some points in there which have hopefully, and I said at the start, that made it simple, because it's not so complicated, but we can tend to complicate.